Lawyers from across the country are helping citizens erase their past convictions during National Expungement Week. A local church in Bowie plans to do just that and much more.
Greater Mount Nebo A.M.E Church will host its Pro Bono Law Day this Saturday. Reverend Jonathan Weaver and attorney Sharon Theodore-Lewis are here to talk a little bit more about it. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. So first of all, Reverend Weaver, why is this event so important?
In large measure, simply because when we think about the disparity that still exists here in the United States and even here in the state of Maryland, we're trying to reach out to those persons that perhaps have not had access to legal or law professionals in such a way that they could benefit from it. And so that's why we brought together people like Sharon, who's here today, as well as other lawyers from Prince George's County and beyond.
How did you guys assemble your team of lawyers?
Well, we have our legal ministry at Greater Mount Nebo. We always have a Pro Bono Law Day, so we have lawyers from our ministry, and we also got lawyers from Community Legal Services. They've been a great support. They've come out and trained our attorneys, and then we just ask other friends and family members who may be attorneys to join us.
And why is it so hard for people to get these offenses and crimes erased from their record in the first place?
I think it's just knowledge. It's a little bit technical because there's some crimes that you can erase and some you can't. And there's also a waiting period that you have to understand what it is. So for the regular person, they just don't know what those are. So for instance, for regular misdemeanors dealing with marijuana possession, simple possession, if you're found guilty, you have to wait 3 years after serving your sentence to file. There may be other deals, other sentences where if it's a second-degree assault, for instance, you have to wait 15 years after serving your sentence. So you have to know which one. And also, too, sometimes it's tied between different crimes all at the same time. So you may not be able to expunge one without the other because it's a little more complicated. So it's a little difficult.
I'm guessing also for many people, they're getting services that they perhaps could not afford on their own. So in that sense, it's very helpful as well.
Absolutely.
Yes, and we're delighted that we're able to provide these kinds of services. As Sharon has pointed out, we've been doing this now for a number of years, and it's not simply just for the members of the church. Obviously, we make this for the broader public, and we've had tremendous response over the years, and we're looking forward to a great crowd on Saturday.
Absolutely. Right, and this is a big deal. So if something like this is erased from their record, what type of impact would it have on them going forward with employment and just life in general? Exactly.
It opens the door so much more for employment opportunities. A lot of the times the people we serve, that's the first thing they tell us is, this is preventing me from going forward with a job. Something I did 20 years ago still shows up in my record, and it affects my ability to get employment.
And you're also talking about not just expungement, but also wills, estates. Talk about that a little bit.
Absolutely. We are also having a program that deals with wills, trusts, and estates. And the title of the program is Leave a Legacy, Not a Mess. So we're asking folks to come out and listen to what you need to do before you pass. You need to have a will. You may need to have health care directives. You may have to have a power of attorney. So we're helping folks to sort all of that out. It's a lot easier to sort this out while you're alive. We have to deal with death. Nobody's going to be here forever. And it's better and cheaper if you sort this out before you pass.
All right, so how many people are you all expecting at the event, potentially?
We're hoping to have a turnout of at least, hopefully no more than 300.
It's a lot.
It's a lot. It's a lot. But we will be having the expungement at the same time, and then followed by the Wills, Trust, and Estate program as well. And we're also doing the voter registration.
So you've done this pastor for many years. I'm sure people come back and say how they've been blessed by the program. What are you hearing from people who've gone through it in years past?
As Sharon alluded to, a part of the program for Saturday about the expungement, we've actually had people to come back. I've had a chance to talk to people and let them and hear from them where they've said, this has been such a transformative element in my life. And I think it's also self-esteem to be able to have people to come back to say that before getting these items expunged, I really felt this pall, this cloud hanging over my head. But now that they've been able to have access to employment opportunities, to know that there's no longer any record, that's what I've been hearing from people, the kind of enthusiasm that they feel as a result of having those items expunged from their records.
And also you're doing voter registration as well as we go up to the 2020 election season.
And that's so pivotal. Despite all that we're hearing now in the media in terms of the headlines, the fact of the matter is it really is something that's a civic duty, but it's also something that we ought to not take for granted, that right that we've got to be able to vote. And so we really do want to urge every single eligible person to make it a point to get out to the polls.
Okay, all right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, again, the Pro Bono Law Day is Saturday at the Greater Mount Nebo A.M.E Church in Bowie. The event is from 9 a.m. until 2 in the afternoon.